And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Josh Thompson, can you hear it? Can you hear it, Josh? I need to know, can you hear it? Because that is all of our subscribers standing by, yelling for the next Weighing In podcast episode. And it is here. We are here. We are ready. And do we have some good stuff to talk about? God bless Stephen A. Smith for giving me things to talk about.
This guy, I feel like he's just lining our pockets with money with just great content. What a freaking idiot. I mean, here's the issue that I've always had with him. I don't mind that he says off the wall shit all the time about every other thing, every other topic. I'm okay with that. I get it. Sure. But and apparently he used to play basketball and he talks about basketball.
Yeah, basketball player. That's
good.
But
when you want to get to the fighting part of it, I've heard him talk about boxing and I've heard him talk about MMA. And I've seen him do baby dick punches and other little things.
Hold on. Are you talking dick punch uppercut?
Yeah, dick punch uppercut. Well, I thought he was like hitting a baby at first, practicing hitting a baby, and then like hitting
a 3-year-old,
and then hitting the mother on the way up. Like, let me hit the kid first because that's most dangerous. Then let me hit the mother on the way up. Boom. So he just gives us he's gonna give us great ratings, and I love this. He's gonna bring subscribers to us. He's giving us the content. I want to thank you, Stephen A. Smith, for giving us this information because you're an idiot. Look, I understand. I understand where he's coming from a little bit. Don't get me wrong in terms of there are people that don't like to see women fight. I don't want to see two women fight out on the street.
There's also people that don't like to see men fight.
That's true as well. Yes. I don't want to see two untrained, not prepared women fight in the parking lot or in a bar or wherever. But the simple fact of the matter is these women are really damn good. A lot of them, almost all of them, especially the ones you see in the top organizations, they're really damn good. And
they're good enough to whip Stephen A.
Smith's ass. That's exactly what I was going to get to. Like when he starts saying like, yeah, some of them are good and some of them are going to beat these. No, some of them are going to beat these dudes. Some of them are going to beat your ass next time they see you is what they're going to do. All right. Like it just comes down to,
could be,
you got to leave, especially in the climate that we're in right now. You've got to be very cautious with things like this, the way you speak of. You guys, like, you want to say something?
Well, I mean, you say cautious, and I'm just gonna. I all the time say, look, and I used to do this with Josh. I went through the whole thing of legitimizing MMA, legalizing MMA, having the people trying to do legislation against MMA and doing it at times. I went through all of that, and he even brings that up. I wouldn't go for legislation against it. Here's the problem. All the time I tell people, look, if you don't like fighting, I understand that. That's okay. Not everyone is going to like everything. I don't like figure skating. And to watch figure skating, be it a man or a woman doing it, is just not of interest to me. I look at it and I go, I know that's hard. It's boring to me. I don't want to see it. And so I don't watch it, but I don't say things about it. And here's the big part. Josh, you and I talk about MMA. We talk about boxing. We talk about combat sports because we work in that realm. Well, Stephen A. Smith works for ESPN, and he talks about a lot of different sports. And one of the sports that they have put him into where he has opened his mouth, stuck his foot deep inside it, was MMA. And he did that, when he was talking about Cowboy Cerrone against Conor McGregor. Now, he can have his opinion. That's okay. But when you cross the line, then people are going to jump back at you. And then you're going to put out dick punch, uppercut, and everyone else is going to sit there and go, and that's why we know you're an idiot. Yeah. Okay. But I don't work for a network that shows all sports. I work for Bellator. You work for Bellator. There's people that work for the UFC. He works for ESPN, and ESPN puts him on MMA fights. And when he sits there and then says, look, I don't want to see women's MMA. I don't like seeing women get punched. That's okay as his personal opinion. He doesn't like to see a woman in a fight. But when you work for a company that shows those fights, and every UFC just about has either at least one, if not multiple women's, fights going on, you are saying something about the people that you are working for and with. You are stepping in it, man. You owe every women's MMA fighter an apology, because you have a voice beyond the norm. You work in this industry. And when you say that, you're just not thinking. I don't care if you don't like it. That's okay. You can say, personally, it's not for me, but that's about as far as you would go. Just like, there could be a female reporter saying, personally, men's fighting isn't for me. Okay, that's all right. But when you are working in that industry, shut up.
Yeah. Well, you work in the industry that you work for, the company that basically establishes almost all sports. They basically come out and they produce, or they put out content that other organizations, whether NFL and Major League Baseball, whatever, NBA, that produce these things. Like they come out and they put them on their platforms. And now for you to say that, where do you go next? Do you say the same thing about, like, you know what? Women's basketball just isn't as popular as men's basketball. So
it's not as good.
It's
just not as good.
I mean, I could play the reverse role though too. Like, U.S. men's soccer isn't as good as women's soccer. U.S. women's soccer.
But that's the truth.
Yes. But in terms, like,
it's not as popular. Let's be honest.
Popular. It's not. No, it's not. But we should find way. I think, like I said, I agree with you that they need to find. Should have found ways to say it differently, or he shouldn't have said it at all. Like,
not at all.
Especially when you work for that company. It didn't make any sense. I just bless him for giving us the opportunity to talk on this, because this is going to be wonderful. He really just comes down to, look, they say things on their network, their, what is it called? First Take, whatever. I think that's what he's, I think that's his show. He has a show where they just basically blurt out absurd things. Oh, and Skip Bayless and this, and oh, well, Skip, you don't know. It's almost who can outdo who in the most dramatic, lame outlandish comment you possibly can come up with. That's him. That's what they do. That's that when we talk about clickbait material, that is what they're doing. They're creating. I think it almost seems like they sit at home and look at themselves in the mirror and they recite what they're going to say to them the next day. These are my topics. This is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to put Skip Bayless in his place, and I'm going to say this, says Stephen A. And just these are the remarks, and people they've grown to tune into that shit every single day. It's garbage. It really is garbage. It's that type of media, that type of stuff that's put us in the situations that we're in now, I think, nationwide, where it's just everything is now who can say and outdo who to get the most attention. And we started this all with this real life TV stuff, the Kardashians, the other thing. It's like all the other married housewives and, whatever it is, all that stuff. That's where it all kind of started. Now it's whoever can say the most outlandish thing on TV to get more eyes and viewership for them to watch. It's ridiculous. And this right here is someone who's putting his foot in his mouth. I wonder what they're going to do with him. Like, they just gave him a raise last year, right? It was right around February last year. He got a raise. I want to say he's getting paid some astronomical amount of money. I want to say it was either 9 or 19 million a year. It's 9 or 19 million a year. It's something around that. I recall. I do believe it has a 9 in there. So it's either 9 or 19. But regardless, you're making that much money. I know NFL players that don't even make that much money.
Well, I will say this. He did say several things that I will agree with. I do not believe that in fighting that there should be the crossover of a woman fighting a man.
Absolutely.
Not a skilled woman against a skilled man. I don't believe that's good competition, and I don't think that's the right thing. And he said that. But I would love to see Chris Cyborg and Stephen A. Smith fight. Because, see, that's not what he's taught. That's not that, skilled woman against a skilled man. I mean, that's a skilled woman. And that's a dick punch uppercut man
That's
They're
punch
gonna
the
get his
baby,
ass
punch the
kicked.
mama. Punch the baby,
And I'll
punch
tell
the
you-
mama.
And I'll tell you what, I guarantee it won't last a minute.
This is
So,
great. I'm watching the
mean-
video right now. It's hilarious.
Oh, geez, it is so embarrassing.
How mad should he be? Did he fire that coach or whoever took that video and posted it? I would have fired him. I wouldn't be friends with him anymore. It's embarrassing.
Dude, I would pay. I if they had a GoFundMe, I'd pay that sumbitch for putting it out there.
That's so good. Yeah, I have look, I agree with him in terms of I have no desire to see, even when you said a trained man and a trained woman, I have no desire to see a trained woman beat up on an untrained man either. I have no desire to see any of that.
If it was Steven, I might.
Yeah,
I really
true.
do now. Yeah, I do.
You could throw
If you've got that mouth that says some of those things, maybe you deserve to have one of the people that you're talking about who's put so much time of their life to becoming unbelievably outstanding at something. An Amanda Nunes, a Chris Cyborg, a Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, he has no concept how fucking good they are.
Valentina would kick him 2 or 3 times, and that guy would limp out of there. He'd hobble. They have to pull him out on a stretcher. Yeah, I have no. You know what? While they're at it, why don't they just throw Skip Bayless in there too? I can't stand watching and listening to that guy either.
I don't listen to him.
Yeah,
I mean, I know who he is.
Yeah,
I've listened to him a couple of times and said, "That's it."
Their shows are just so over. Shannon Sharp jumps in there as well every once in a while. Sometimes he's very even keel, and sometimes he's like extremely over the top, like these two clowns. But mainly with Stephen A. But he's gotten to where he is by saying all of these outlandish things, and we, as a country or as a company at the ESPN,
as a community,
they honor him by paying him the amount of money they're paying him to do those things. And I think I don't know. Do you put pressure into ESPN to say, hey, you've got to either put out an apology? Or
you remember that retraction page you were talking about on our last show?
It's going to be on the back page of.
It's going to be on the back page.
Yeah. Go to our website. It's 3 clicks. It's like 3 clicks. You get to the retractions. Yeah, that's where Stephen A. will post his retraction. It's embarrassing, honestly, especially when you work for a company like ESPN. You should be more aware of the situation in terms of how many other women in other sports heard what he just said and was like, what are you talking about? They've worked just as hard as all the men, and they've established themselves in this sport. And let's just be honest, women's MMA has broke through way more than women's boxing has.
Oh,
way more.
Completely.
And I recall a certain promoter who said, there'll never be women in the UFC. I don't know who that was, but now look at
was that guy?
I don't know.
Nameless.
But let's be honest. Women's MMA is absolutely amazing, especially with the top girls that are there. Like you've got the top, say 7 to 8 girls in each weight class that are phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal. And it's getting better I feel like they're still in the beginning stage.
Every
Don't get me
year
wrong.
it's evolving.
They're in that Frank Shamrock era, maybe a little bit past that.
Past it.
They're past it. They're kind of in that past that part. They're in between. I can't tell where they're really in there. Where would you say they're at?
They're right in that, but they're right in between the Chuck Liddell, George St. Pierre era.
Yeah. So the GSP, when he first broke onto the scene against like Carl Parisian, that kind of era.
Fought Frank Trigg, those guys.
See, I would actually put it maybe even a little bit further than that. I would say GSP right after he beat Matt Hughes, kind of that era.
Could be.
Yeah, I think because that's when GSP started to learn how to really wrestle really well, stop takedowns, and was already good on the feet. I feel like they're kind of in that area because the women's wrestling has gotten really good. Now
much better.
Yeah, so much better, a lot better. And yeah, I would say they're kind of in that area now where they're getting to that next level of I think in a couple more years, I'd say another 3 or 4 more years, they're going to be just right there with the men. And they got started a lot later than the men. Not all of them, but some of them did. Majority of them did right now that are in the sport. I just got to be honest. Women's MMA is absolutely phenomenal. I love watching it. And you got to think in terms of last year, right? In 2020, the shittiest year of our lives. Okay. There was one fighter that stole the show for the whole year. And that was the Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Like that fight was up for me. It was fight of the year. Now there was a lot of great fights throughout the year, but that fight, I think, just took it hands down. It was an absolutely phenomenal fight. And, for him to say something like that, it really discredits what those two women did that night in the cage. And it's upsetting to hear somebody that works for such a major company do something like that. I can continue to say this over and over again, but we've kind of beat the nail to the head too much. But it's true.
You brought up one person. I loved her response to Steven. It was beautiful. First off, Joanna was one. She had a very nice response. But Wei Li Zhang said, shut up.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
I love it.
2 words, shut up.
There was one more. Let's go back down to Joanna's because I'm going to go ahead and read hers. It says, I appreciate your transparency, Stephen A. It says, although I wish everyone at ESPN and throughout the world saw women's sport in a positive light. I assure you that we women don't need your support.
Boom.
I love it.
Boom.
The simple fact of the matter is they don't need Stephen A to like them. They don't even give a shit. He doesn't cross their mind 2 seconds while they're training and while they're fighting. Doesn't get it. But the simple fact of the matter is that he works for a company that they fight for. They work for the UFC, but the UFC and them are partners. And when you have one of your top analysts who you guys pay a ton of money to, needs to be more sympathetic to all of the athletes, all of them that are on that network.
I don't even think he needs to be more sympathetic. What he needs to be is more educated.
That's true.
He needs to have someone give him just a little touch of some knowledge. And the best way for him to get that knowledge, Josh, is he needs to go to a gym and watch some of this training and then partake in it. Now, the best part about training is, when you go to another gym, you get to get some and you get to give some. And so they can show them exactly what, they do. And he can show them the dick punch uppercut and they can all laugh as he walks out of the gym.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to go well. He walks into a gym with any of the top women. They're going to throw a fucking beating on him. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be great. I hope they have cameras there. Just they can post that video. All right. Next topic. What do you got?
Do you want to hop into the announcement of Sean O'Malley's return?
Okay, so coming off all the controversy from Sean O'Malley and Casey Kenny and that podcast they did together, now they just come out and they announced that Sean O'Malley is fighting Almeida. What do you think of that? Shouldn't they have waited a little bit? Shouldn't they have waited let's make this announcement a little bit later while your name's not fresh in the media for something so negative?
I think they're trying to deflect and get people's attention off of the one and on to what he really does.
Yeah.
And that he's good at. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He's a good fighter. Thomas Almeida is a guy that, he was on fire and he met up with Cody Garbrandt. And that was the turn in his career. He's had a hard time since then. He's had,
3 losses.
He's had
Jonathan Martinez,
1 or 2 wins.
Jonathan Martinez, Rob Font, and Jimmy Rivera.
Yeah.
He lost all 3 of those. He had beat Albert Morales. He's moving it. Morales. And then he lost to Cody.
California.
So after he lost to Cody, he beat Albert Morales. And then he had 3 losses.
3 straight losses. Yeah. He's had a hard time. So you look and you go, well, I understand O'Malley's coming off of a loss himself. He lost to Chito Vera, but this is a tough fight. Tough fight for both of them because Almeida can throw and he's good in the stand-up. O'Malley is more dynamic overall in his overall game. He's got the more fluid ground game. Although Almeida's good on the ground, not as fluid as O'Malley's, but it's a good matchup. But I just think they're trying to deflect off of some of the heat that O'Malley was taking from.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I might get a lot of hate from this in the comment section. You guys, as you guys know, I do read the comments because I do comment on them now. I love this stir of the pot. This is so much fun. You need to stop.
You need to get your own login.
No one likes you. Okay. Look, I'm going to take some heat for this. I'm starting to believe that Sean O'Malley, as good of a prospect as he is, he's starting to read his own headlines. And I think what's going to happen is this is his moment right now to shit or get off the pot. He either needs to start taking this very seriously in terms of focusing strictly on the fight and let go of all the other outside bullshit, the podcast type shit that he just did, all the other little videos he does. I get it. It's marketing yourself, but keep it to simple stuff and focus on getting better. because after the Chito fight, all he had was excuses. And that was somebody, and that was somebody though that it was riding high, and it felt like he started to read his own press. And I've seen it too many times with very talented fighters. They start reading their own clippings, their own headline clippings, and guess what? They just start doing a little bit of a nosedive. And then a little bit of reality sets in, and they start kind of coming back because they were always talented. I'm not saying he's not talented at all. He's definitely talented.
Yeah, he's good
talented. On the feet. He's good on the ground. He's good all the way around. He's got that body style we always talk about, that long, lanky body style for that weight class. I think he has the champion. I think he has the opportunity and the chance to become champion. But will he do it by letting all that other shit go to the side? I don't know. I don't know, John. I get a little concerned. I start watching him, and I see like even his pictures up on some of the websites. No tattoos. Now he's all tatted. Like it seems like there's a lot of outline. I'm not saying the tattoos make a difference. I'm saying in terms of there's a lot of other things that are now coming into play. You know what I mean? Like he's letting all this other stuff come in instead of just focusing on the training aspect of it all and getting better. Because he had a lot of excuses after his last fight.
Well, he's had the tattoos since he won his fight in the Dana White Contender Series. I was there when he fought it, and he may have more now. I'm not saying he doesn't, but he had a lot of tattoos then.
I feel like they're growing a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? That has nothing to do with it. And getting a tattoo is nothing, but it is the concentration and where you are focusing your energy at that matters. And I think that's what you're talking about.
Exactly.
And hopefully he's got, the guys he's training with, they're good guys. You take a look, he was out of the MMA lab there with guys like Benson Henderson. You can't get a better mentor, a guy that'll show you, what it takes to be a champion than a guy like a Benson Henderson. He's got, John Crouch, an outstanding coach who, looks at the game in all kinds of different fashions, brings in other people to help. So he's got the right people. The question is he listening to them? Because you could have someone giving you all the best information in the world. If you don't listen to it, it doesn't matter because it's going in one ear and out the other. So I think what you're saying, kind of is, hitting it on the head. I think Josh Thompson got this one right. It's sometimes you start to, everyone's patting you on the back. Everyone's, writing about how wonderful you are. And you start to kind of say, yeah, and it's, I could take a break here. I can make it easier. I could do these other things. And those are the things that lead you down a path where now they are talking about you still, just not in the same realm.
John, did that taste like vinegar coming out of your mouth? You said
it
Josh
was
Thompson
wonderful.
Was right.
I want you to know that, to sit in this chair and to listen to you and then to finally get something, you go, you know what? He's got it. He's doing good. That's making me proud.
He's very good. Like I said, he's very talented. I love watching him fight. At 26 years old, obviously I relate a lot of things that I see on the outside to when I was at that age, as well as other people that I've been around, other fighters throughout their careers that I've seen top level guys. I've seen guys be stone cold killers in the gym. But then guess what? They were still out partying all the time. They were still out and they never made it to the bigger shows because they didn't take it as serious. No, I am who I am because of this. And they started believing the hype just amongst the gym. Can you imagine now your name's being written in articles and you're seeing yourself on whatever, ESPN and all these things. It starts getting to you a lot faster. And I'm seeing a little bit of that with him, and I hope it doesn't end up turning out that way. But I want to see him succeed. I see it 26 years old and he's got the body frame for it. He's got the style to be exciting. He's got all the things that really want to make me tune in. But the outside distractions, whether it's the podcast in terms of how it comes about and what the things that they do and talk about, I get it. Like this is, we talk and have fun. We talk about something specifically, but when you gotta be very cautious, so you don't attract more attention, especially negative attention, to get your mind off of what your goal is. And your goal is to become the UFC champion. I'm assuming that's what his goal is, and to make a ton of money. So I want to see him succeed. I just hope that I'm not right, is what I'm trying to say. But that's kind of what I see right now. I see that kind of heading in that direction. And one or two losses may snap him out of that. Who knows?
Well, you can figure, one of the things that we talk about is when you have those fights and then all of a sudden there's that blueprint that people now have on how to beat you. Mm-hmm. And you can go all the way back, you know, and I will always screw up the name, but Andre Southcamp, who he fought, and he won the fight. But if you remember, he got his legs eaten up and he couldn't even stand up at the end of the fight. And Andre almost had that fight. He almost took that fight. And if he had fought smarter, he would have won that fight. And now you go back to watching, you know, Marlon Vera, who he just ate up his legs. And all of a sudden, you know, you look at Conor McGregor, there's the exact same thing right there. If you cannot move, now you're a sitting target for somebody. Movement is everything in fighting. The ability to move your body into certain angles and to get your body out of trouble, out of the way of something that's coming to hurt you. You don't have that ability. I don't care who you are. You're going to end up getting KO'd. Yeah. And so the blueprint's there. Now's the question of, can he fix what everyone knows is a weakness and now make it, it's not a weakness. It can be a strength that he actually is good at countering off of it, not accepting the kicks. But, you know, he's got a tough go coming up here. Because if I was in Almeida's corner and I was one of his trainers, I guarantee we would be just all day long. Every day that we went in the gym, there would be a specific time that we were working on a beautiful low kick. You know, kick to the calf, kick to the knee. I would go all the way up, but that calf kick, I would be eating him alive as much as I could with it, because it's shown he doesn't deal with it well.
I feel like that calf kick is going to change the dynamic of that long, lanky body style being so effective in MMA. It's been effective over the years. I feel like all those guys, like GSP was considered long and lanky when he first came into the sport. Myself was considered long and lanky when I first came into the sport in the UFC. Like I was considered a bigger, like 155 pounder. You know, you've got, who else you got? Remember how good Corey Hill was until he broke his leg. I mean, but Corey Hill,
6'4".
Yeah, 6'4", 145, right? 145?
155.
You know, so I mean, like you have these guys. I mean, Corey Sandhagen, what is he? 5'11", 135. You know,
that one's coming up.
Yeah, that's coming up this weekend. But there's a lot of guys that Anderson Silva was long and lanky. You have a lot of guys that have had careers, John Jones. But I feel like the calf kick will start to make a change on them because they're not able to catch that leg like they were used to catching other people's leg kicks. Now they have to catch the calf. If you reach down that far, it opens up the head kick and the body kicks and all the other things. So they've got to be cautious about that. And obviously, if you're that tall, long, and lanky, you probably don't have a lot of meat down there, you know, in terms of your leg. So you're hitting almost a little bit of muscle and then right to the bone, and that has a huge effect on whether you can move and pivot and get out and circle out. I think you're going to start to see those fighters start to use that a lot more against those tall, long, and lanky guys. And I agree with you. I do agree with you, unfortunately.
God, look at that.
That this will be people are going to start seeing the transition and the game plans laid out. Conor McGregor, you know, O'Malley and other guys are going to start using it against them, and they have to come up with a solution. That calf kick has really changed the game, and I've said that we've talked about this a lot especially on our broadcast for Bellator. It's changing the game in the sport, period. You know, and there'll be something eventually that comes along that kind of just detours it and distracts it from being a lot of the switching stances is keeping that from happening a lot.
Yep.
But
yeah. Well, the perfect example, if you're going to look, you know, Michael Chandler, who just, you know, beat Dan Hooker. He lost his title to Brett Primus off of that calf kick because he lost control. It shut down the nerve. He couldn't control his foot. His foot dropped. He couldn't move, and the referee stops the fight based upon he can't control his body position, his body weight. He comes back. You watch him against Hooker. You watch him against Benson Henderson, a guy who's very good with the low kick, a guy that actually almost was one of the ones that brought it out. And he's changed what he's doing. He now changes stance. This is how you deal with that element of the game. And everyone has got to start to do it, or you are going to fall victim to it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Remember a guy named Justin Wilcox?
Oh, yeah.
Fought in Bellator.
Silverback.
Called him the Silverback. Yeah, he was one of my teammates at AKA.
More muscle on that guy at either 155 or what? He went down to 145.
He did. I have no idea how he made the weight.
Crazy.
But he fought a tough Russian guy, I believe, in Bellator.
Stepanian.
That guy tore his freaking calf up. And
Sniper Stepanian ate him alive.
With
the kicks.
But Justin got the finish, like 2 minutes left, I think, in the third round or something like that. He got the finish.
Yep.
But Wilcox came back to AKA after that fight to train for his next one. You couldn't kick him there. You couldn't touch him there. Even grappling, if your knee hit it. And this was like 6 to 7 months later.
Yep.
That leg was never the same, ever. And so that calf kick, like I said, is changing the game in terms of it's not just one time. And I'm going to go back, even though, look, Michael Chandler beat Dan Hooker. But Dan Hooker kicked him once or twice on the calf. And the second time, I think it was the second time, Dan Hooker's, or not hammer, but Michael Chandler's leg kind of buckled a little bit. And he only kicked him twice.
Yep.
The game plan to beat Michael Chandler is to hit the calf kick on him. And that's why he's been switching. And he's got power in both hands, we found out. But I think that is the remedy to beat him, is to hit for that calf kick. It's been laid out already. Just you got to be able to get to his leg before he gets to your chin.
Yeah, but then the whole point is this. He's at least done something to deal with the problem of that kick.
Yeah.
It's not that he's not going to get kicked. He is. But he's not going to eat him in that steady fashion that he did in the past when he was one stance, orthodox stance, coming forward with a wide stance, a lot of weight on in front of his leg. You're going to eat those. You can only eat so many.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a kick in the middle of this fight here in the first round where Hooker, I think, hits him and he kind of buckles his leg just a little bit because he's got
I'm so glad that you get to see videos and Dave puts up all this stuff in front of you. You know what I have in front of me? Your ugly mug. That's it.
You know what it is, right? Is that everyone knows that? Yeah, it was that one little spot right there. We know it right there. See, but you know what it is, right? You just have that still trap of a brain, right? It's all the memory is locked in there. I don't need to. You already knew. What? 2.5 minutes in, the leg kick happened in the buckle of the leg, and you were like, "Yeah, of course I remember that." But look, this is a good little segue right into our next conversation. If we're going to talk about Charles Oliveira reportedly declined a fight against Michael Chandler for UFC 258 non-title fight against Michael Chandler. So I want to spend a little bit of time on this, based on the fact that everyone wants to compare the two guys and what they've done in terms of where they're at right now. I'm sorry. Michael Chandler's done way more. Not I shouldn't say way more, but he's done significantly more to get where he's at.
Hold it. How many titles has Oliveira won?
Yeah, none. That's that. But then also too, I look at the people that Chandler, you're saying, oh yeah, he fought guys in Bellator. Eddie Alvarez, who was the former UFC champion, Benson Hender, who was the UFC champion, the WC champion. And I like Charles Oliveira. I think he is dangerous. I love him. I love watching him fight. What he did to Tony was absolutely amazing. But if you want to compare Kevin Lee to Benson to Brent Primus, who's absolutely enormous and his submission game is nasty good, and just ask Jake Shields and other guys that he's submitted, okay? In just straight grappling, he submitted them.
Yeah, just grappling tournaments.
And so it's not like there was punches involved and he got the upper hand on the striking. He's beaten Michael Chandler, so he's good. Michael Chandler just starched Dan Hooker. We're comparing, if you want to compare the resumes, sure, he's fought good guys. But look, Charles Oliveira, he's fought, go down a little bit, Clay Guida, okay? He's fought Clay. Clay is getting a little bit older, okay?
Not a little bit, let's be honest.
Yeah,
I love Clay.
Okay. Jim Miller, a little bit older. Both of these guys, they're definitely great fighters. Their time has passed. They're not in that title conversation. They're not in the top 10. They're not in the top 15. I love watching them fight. I'll always go in and watch them fight. But they beat them. He beat them. So when I'm starting to compare these, Nick Lentz has not been the same either. Okay, you're talking about you have Jared Gordon. Okay, good. He beat him with the KO and decent. Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson are his two best fights, I feel like.
Yeah, that was his two last fights.
Those were his two last fights. Those are not comparables to Eddie Alvarez, he's beaten before. Okay, he also lost to him as well. I'm going to make sure that's touched on. But he also beat Benson twice, and those are some of his more recent fights. He lost to Patricio. I don't even want to get into the Patricio conversation. The guy's fucking good. Okay, you guys just got to start recognizing how good this guy is.
Yeah.
All right. He's got a nasty, tough fight coming up against Emmanuel Sanchez, who comes from Pettis' gym there at Rufus Sports. He's damn good. Both those guys. Patricio is really damn good. And so when they're having this conversation with Michael Chandler is the former champion in Bellator. He's been the champion back and forth. He deserves it more, and it pains me to say that. He deserves the title shot more when you want to compare resumes. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Sure, he beat Tony Ferguson, but he beat Tony Ferguson when Tony was coming off of a loss, and he gave him a second loss. It's not the same. And you're saying Dan Hooker's coming off of a loss. I get it. He's coming off of a loss also. Okay. But he wasn't his second fight out off. It wasn't the same. It just was not the same. I compare the two resumes, and Chandler's got the better resume. And if you're going to give a title shot to somebody coming in on their first fight in the UFC, and the way he performed, didn't let it get to him, came in with a smile on his face, got the crowd behind him. All 20 of them, 1,200 of them, 1,200 of them, 2,500, right?
No, there was more than that.
Okay,
way more than that.
They got the crowd in there and but anyway, he won fans with this fight, and I feel like this was his opportunity, his chance. He solidified it. I know maybe they don't want to give him an automatic title shot, but if you're going to compare the two guys and who would get it, it would be him.
Josh, I have more people asking me about Michael Chandler now than you could imagine. And it's all because of they watched him on that fight card against Dan Hooker, and he is the new monster, and they all want to see him fight again. And this is the one thing that I'm not saying this is Charles Oliveira. I think it's his management team looking at this and saying, hey, this is a no-win for us. This doesn't help us. If we win, it doesn't help us. And if we lose, this is bad. And I think they are completely wrong.
Yeah.
Because you have the opportunity to put your fighter in a position to guarantee a title fight. It's all about winning. And if you believe in your fighter and you believe that your fighter is the best in the world, then you should put your fighter up against Michael Chandler, let him go beat Michael Chandler, and let him earn that spot for the title, because if you don't take the fight, you definitely are not going to get that title shot.
Yeah.
So what are you doing this for? You're doing this so you can become the champion. With being the champion comes a lot of things, and one is more money. So if that's what you want, here's the fight that's going to put you in that position. Why are you going to turn it down? Why?
You're going to have to fight him. Here's the thing. There's only one guarantee in this title conversation. Dustin Poirier is fighting for the title.
That's it.
That's the only guarantee.
So you can be the guy that can be in the cage with Dustin Poirier if you beat Michael Chandler.
Yeah. I don't see it in terms of if he wins, it doesn't do anything for him. No, it gets him a title shot. That's what, I don't look at it that way. If you win, you get a title shot. There'd be no other people for you to look at and say, hey, okay, am I next? No, you're definitely next. Like there's no one in front of you to beat.
That's it.
Gaethje just fought for the title. They're not going to give him another title shot, especially after the
and he's got to get a win.
Yeah, he's got to get a win. Yes.
He's got to get a win.
So
I look at it. This is the proverbial, the glass is half empty or half full. It's all in the way that you're looking, because there's going to be a ton of guys who can sit there and argue, oh, you're wrong. You know what? He shouldn't take that fight because it's, you're looking at things on the glass is half empty side. You got to look at the side of the glass is half full, man, and I can fill it to the brim. All I got to do is go take this fight, go put that sumbitch to sleep, and I have a title fight. I cannot believe that his management is not either understanding that or putting that on the table in front of him saying, hey, let's go do this.
Yeah. Yeah. I went through a similar situation after the Nate fight. They called me and they said I was supposed to fight Pettis, and they called me and said, hey, we want you to fight after Pettis pulled out. We want you to fight Ruston Kabalov. I was like, he was ranked 15 and I was ranked 2 or 3, I think 2. I was like, absolutely not. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not
Well,
fighting
that's not
this
gonna
guy.
get you anywhere.
That doesn't do anything for me. And then I went from being the main event to like the opening fight on the main card. I was like, absolutely not. So I turned it down. I said, look, if you come to me with someone ranked in the top 5, I'll fight them all day long. So they called me with Benson a week later, and I got the fight. That's like you're trying to better your position. I get it, but you got to take these fights. Like this is
where he's at. You can't better the position. This is the fight you're looking for, Josh. This is the
that's
one
what I'm saying.
That's
bettering his position.
Yeah,
that's bettering his position. The winner of this gets to fight Dustin Poirier for the title.
Hello.
That I looked at it that way. Like, hey, if I fought Benson, I know I'm guaranteed the title shot. He's the only guy ranked ahead of me. Okay, TJ Grant was too, but they took him out of the rankings because they didn't know when he'd ever fight again. So it was like that was it. I was like, okay, I have no one else in front of me. There's no way you're going to deny me if I beat him. You know, and that's kind of where you're at. There's nobody else in front of you too. You've got Chandler at 4? You've got Oliveira at 3. You've got Justin Gaethje, but Justin Gaethje coming off a loss. It's not going to nothing's going to happen. The two of you guys are coming off wins. The winner is going to fight for the title against Dustin Poirier. It makes sense. You cannot say no to those fights. And when you do, the UFC is going to say, okay, right, I'm going to tell you exactly. I'm going to tell you exactly what Joe Silva said. Fine, I'll call you in 6 months when you're done, and I'm going to give you the same fucking opponent. And when you say no again, okay, I'm going to sit you on the bench for 6 more months. And in the meantime, for your inactivity, we're going to just drop you in the rankings, which means now when you were at 2 and 3, you're not there. The only reason why Joe and I were able to get the Benson fight together was I said, Joe, I will fight anybody in the top 5. Bring me a top 5 guy, and I will fight them. Didn't matter. That's the difference right now. He had already reportedly said no to Gaethje before. You know, that was like, a month ago. He said, I don't, he's coming off a loss. I'm coming off a win. I don't think I should take that fight. Okay, I understand that portion of it, but he is ranked ahead of you, and that does catapult you into that, hey, you should have been there. He would be number 1 had he beat Justin Gaethje. Now him turning it down, if they're saying that he was going to fight Chandler, hey, we want to offer you this fight, and you turn it down, Chandler's going to get it for sure. He'll get the title shot now for sure. That or they're going to make him fight Chandler.
Well, it's like you said, if people get this idea, the UFC guarantees the fighters 3 fights a year. But when you turn that fight down, you don't get the 3 fights. You just turned it down. That one goes away. They don't owe you anything. And that's why you're saying Joe Silva would come back with the same guy. So you're in a position of you're going to turn him down. Now you've been sitting for a year. Yeah. A year of your career is gone based upon you don't want to fight somebody.
Yep.
If you're in this game, you've got to just understand I'm a fighter. This is what I do, and I want to fight the very best. And sometimes you look and you go, this isn't a great time. Okay. Say I've got things going on. It's a bad time. Tell them I can't take that right now. I'll take it next time. And they'll give it to you next time. Oh, yeah. Because there's reasons why they want that fight.
Yeah, he's not doing himself any favors. If you're you're there in the top rankings, you're number 3, you're exactly where I was ranked at the time. You've got to take the Chandler fight knowing that both of you guys are coming off wins, very impressive wins. They're not going to do you any favors, man. And when you say no to a fight, it automatically, people need to know this, it extends your contract. So let's say you have a 18-month long contract. Well, it extends it for 4 months or 6 months, depending on how long they want to extend it for. And then what they'll do, though, is they won't call you for 4 months. You'll call them, hey, I'm ready to fight. Nope, we don't have nothing for you. Well, wait,
okay.
No, wait.
We'll look.
We already offered you a fight. You turned it down. I have 4 months before I have to offer you another one. Joe Silva made this very clear to me a couple times, with other guys.
You got to look. That's his way of controlling.
Yes.
Because if he allows the fighters control it, he's in trouble.
Yeah.
So he's got to say, all right, you know what? I got to make it to where this hurts. And it's not, I'm not saying it's nice. It's not nice. It's just reality in the fight world. This is the fight game.
Yeah.
And if you're turning down fights because you're trying to either, cherry pick certain fighters that are good styles for you and stay away from the guys that are bad styles from you, good matchmakers know, and they know right away, and they go, all right, I'll give you that guy, and this guy's going to come back around, and he's just going to keep coming back around until you finally take the fight or you walk away.
Yeah, you've got to take these fights in terms of, when I was going through it, I was like, okay, I asked for Cerrone. I asked for TJ Grant, who I didn't realize what his injury was at the time. I was like, I'll take him too, because he was ranked ahead of me. And I was like, how about,
that's the rankings the month after you beat Nate.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but then Pettis had already beat Benson, so Benson had dropped and Gilbert had moved, I think, below me, or was like in that area there. So I think it was Gil. I think I was 3 or 4. So, anyways, into that conversation, he just needs to take this fight. The bottom line is he needs to take the fight. And if I'm the UFC and I'm comparing the resumes, I'm saying Michael Chandler. Just by resume, I'm saying Michael Chandler. And now when I'm comparing the fact that you decided not to take the fight, do you want to be champion or not? I'm trying to run a business here. That's really what it comes down to.
The one thing that Charles has going for him, he's been with that company much longer. But that only goes so far. And all it takes is one fight. And it was the Dan Hooker fight that changes everyone's opinion and says, yes, I want to see this again. And no matter what, Dana likes Michael Chandler right now.
Yeah. You want to know why? He's got fucking granite in his damn hands. That guy. I mean,
he's fast. He's fun to watch.
He's fat. Yeah, he'll go out on his shield. That guy will.
Yes, he will.
If you guys have not seen, God, it pains me to say this. Like I said, if you go back and you watch his Eddie Alvarez fights,
come on, baby, I love it.
His Eddie Alvarez fights are damn good.
Both of his Eddie Alvarez fights are 2 of the best fights you could watch.
Yes, especially for me, the first one. The first one to me was better. I know he won, and that pains me also to say, but it was a barn burner. I was there live watching it in person, so that's what made it even more exciting. I would
tell you his second one was the better fight.
Yeah,
it was closer and it was back and forth. And although they had the knockdowns, and I was there for that one, so I like the second one, but they were both fantastic.
I think it really just comes down to, like, if you were in their arena, you're like, holy shit, this is so crazy.
So good.
Yeah, to see. So, and the crowd was crazy. It was awesome, man. So, and when I'm looking at the resumes, I say Michael Chandler. When I'm looking at the fact that you didn't turn one down and Chandler's like, anyone ahead of me, bring him on. I want that guy. That's the guy that I want to be my champion. Want to know why? Because when you get to be the champion, you don't have the option to say no. So why am I going to put some guy who's saying no now? Why not?
There you go.
It doesn't make any sense. And then
why am I going to put the guy that is a pain in my ass?
Yes. That's really
honest.
Like I said, I'm running a business here. As Dana's White sitting at the top going, I'm running a business. You're supposed to be here trying to make me. I don't want to say you're my employee, but you are kind of my employee. You need to, like, these are the deals. You fight. I set these fights up. You guys fight. Make it happen. Winner goes up. Loser maybe stays there or goes down a little bit. This is what we do. You've known this is what we do. Continue to do what you're doing. You can't drag out a performance like you had against Tony Ferguson with shit like this. Fight Justin Gaethje or fight Michael Chandler or get off the pot, because they're not giving you a title shot now after saying no.
No, that's the whole thing. He's got a choice. I really believe.
Yeah.
His choice is you can fight Justin Gaethje or you could fight Michael Chandler. If you fight Michael Chandler and you win that fight, they're guaranteeing you a title shot. If you fight Justin Gaethje and you win that fight, you might get a title shot.
Yeah.
You might not.
Yeah. I would fight. I honestly, if I was him, I would fight Justin Gaethje and just wait and just let Chandler have the fight and then just wait. Because either way, you're going to probably end up fighting Michael Chandler. What does that say? John, what does that say? 2 fights in the UFC, becomes UFC champion. What does that say?
Well, I don't know. What was Eddie? I did Eddie's first fight when he went over from Bellator and he lost to Cowboy Cerrone. He got his leg eaten up by Cowboy. And then I'm thinking he had one more fight. He got a win in that. And then I think after that he fought
Gilbert.
RDA. Now that was kind of
no, he fought
a
Pettis.
last thing.
He fought Gilbert first in Mexico City.
Okay, and then he fought
Pettis, and then
he fought RDA.
Yeah, because Pettis had just lost the title, I think, to Dos Anjos.
RDA. Yeah.
Just, and then Eddie won, and then he lost to Connor. But I look at, like, for me, I look at the resume of it all, and I just want to know, like, what does that say about Chandler? What does it say about Bellator fighters and athletes? And we've said this for the longest time. No, not one promotion, whether it's Bellator, whether it's PFL, they all have fighters that could potentially be champion in the UFC.
In any organization,
for sure. You know, they just have more of them to choose from. That's really what it comes down to. Because I really believe that Lance Palmer could end up being champion in one of those organizations. He could be a champion, I think, in one with his wrestling for sure.
Oh, he could definitely be a champion in one
because of his wrestling. Everyone's like, "Oh, the striking, yeah," but they have no wrestling. That's the thing. They're all phenomenal strikers because a lot of the fighters are from Thailand or they're from that area where that's a lot of what they train. But on the ground, they don't know anything really. Hardly any of them train on the ground. They're getting better. Someone I worked for one doing commentary for them, they have gotten a lot better. I got to tell you, back then it was like once they hit the ground, fight was over. It was like they just you know, they didn't know what they were doing. They're just, okay, I'll punch you until you get back up to your feet and then we fight again, you know? But now they've gotten a lot better. All the fighters have gotten a lot better. Worldwide, they've gotten better. But what does it say about the fighters from Bellator and how good they are in terms of Eddie came over, became champion. Chandler's coming over. If he does get a title shot, he does become champion. That's the other thing. How do you compare? How do you see the fight playing out with him and Dustin?
Oh, that is such a good matchup. You know, and I honestly, right now, you know, I've been in the cage with both guys. I really like both guys. And right now at this point, I give Dustin Poirier and the way he is able to just control a fight and take it over in certain times. Right now, I give him the advantage. I'm not saying that, you know, Michael Chandler can't win it. He can definitely win it. And he can definitely, you know, put Dustin out. He's got that power. He's got the ability to out wrestle him, even though in out wrestling him, he's going to have to work hard. Dustin will not submit Michael Chandler. If there's one thing that, you know, people can look at, and I'll say this and it'll end up being completely wrong, but I've been in there with Michael Chandler too many. I've watched him too many times. He is almost submission proof in MMA.
Yeah. And
he is so good. I've seen him in some incredibly deep submissions. He had a knee bar that was put onto him by Marcin Held.
Yeah.
His knee was backwards. So he just keeps on working his way out of it, ends up getting on top, ends up winning the fight. He's done it multiple times. I've seen him in chokes where I go, oh, he's in trouble. And he has wiggled his way out of it. He just will not tap. He will not give up on the submission. So he's very tough to submit in MMA. Could Dustin do it? There's a possibility. I don't see it. So submission wise, I don't think that's there for Dustin. I think the way Dustin wins it is by volume, because we've seen that Chandler in a fight with someone, and Eddie Alvarez is the guy that you can look at, did this to him. Volume in that second fight, Chandler takes damage. He will take damage to give damage, and sometimes that works against him. And Dustin Poirier can do that. We saw that in his Dan Hooker fight. You know, he took some big shots and he took some hard shots, especially, you know, in the first and second rounds, and he just kept up with that pace and kept putting volume on Hooker. And if he can do the same thing with Chandler, he's going to walk away with the decision on Chandler.
Yeah, I think what the solution is going to be for Dustin Poirier, I agree with you in terms of, I think Dustin's a nudge ahead of him. And the reason why I say that is it really comes down to game plan. I think the strategy with Dustin Poirier is that if you kick that calf, which we saw it worked against Conor, he is southpaw, so will he switch and kick to the outside leg? Will that be as effective? Will he be able to get to the calf kick? I think, like, I agree with you in terms of volume, because if you go back, I remember seeing the first fight live. Chandler lost to Eddie Alvarez in the third round by like in the new judging, it would be probably a 10-8, maybe even possibly a 10-7.
Not even close.
In that third round.
Third round, he lost.
He got destroyed.
But no different than Eddie Alvarez. You could have said that was a 10-8 round for Michael Chandler in the first round.
Yeah, in the first, I agree. Yes,
he got knocked down twice.
Yes, I agree with you.
And he was in trouble at the end of that round.
Yes. But in that third round, it could have been a 10-8 round in that third round.
Yeah.
He took some big shots in that third round, but then
But
he came out strong in the fourth, and that's how he
And
ended up with the submission.
he showed what he's made of.
Yeah, he's a gritty. He's
no quitting the guy.
very gritty. But the volume was the key in that third round. And I think if Dustin can weather the storm for the first round and a half, he's got a good opportunity, a good chance to drag Chandler into the deeper water and put the pressure and the pace on him. Because when I talk about guys like Brent Primus is enormous for 155. He's probably walks around about 200 pounds.
Yeah.
I think he walks around about, I think when I talked to Primus a while back when he fought Chandler in the Garden, he's like, when I started this camp, he was telling me how he was about 201, 202. I was like, Jesus, man. And he's big. He's enormous. His arms are big. His shoulders are big. You watch him stand face to face with Chandler. It looks like Chandler's his son.
They look like they're in different weight classes.
Yeah, they do look like they're in different weight classes. But Dustin Poirier, though, as well, is somebody he's a big guy. I can't believe how he was making 145. And the fact that
I think that was part of why he had fights that he just didn't do well, because he was depleting himself so much that at times he just couldn't perform.
Mike Brown talked about it. He said, like, at 155, he's a lot more durable. Yeah. He is a lot. He is a lot better fighter at 155. Not in terms of like technique, in terms of the fact that he can take more punishment and he can also dish it out. His conditioning allows him to put more output out there. And
I agree.
I think that's going to be the key in that fight. He's going to have to make sure he doesn't take any clean, hard shots in that first round and a half, maybe 2 rounds. But I think if it gets into that third round, you're going to see Dustin do what he did with Dan Hooker. Just start touching and getting up the big shots. But like I said, I'm excited to see that fight based on the fact that we know that both guys, when you look back at the Michael Chandler and Eddie Alvarez fights, doesn't matter. He got smashed in the third round. He came out hard in the fourth. He comes out and he still will give it his all throughout the fight. He's a good fighter. It's hard.
It's
hard.
It's not hard. It's just truth.
He's a good fighter.
It's just truth. He's a dynamic fighter. He's good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are there ways you can take a look and watch his fights and go, this is the road that I'm going to take in trying to beat this guy. Yeah. And that road has been proven, but you got to go through a whole lot of fucking damage and pain to get down that road.
This is true. Very true. All right. Well, what else?
We got to do weighing in on the odds for upcoming fights.
Hey, we got the fight night coming up, baby. Come on.
Plus your boxing.
Oh, no. We're going to do weighing in on the odds on, guess what? The biggest fight right now that is in the market, Ben Askren and Jake Paul weighing in on the odds. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
I'm gone.
Yeah, the odds
I was going to leave. Oh.
The odds got released today.
What are the odds? I can't even believe that you even looked for the odds.
We're going to go to mybookie.ag, use the promo code weighing in. They'll give you 50% of your initial deposit. You guys do that. For this fight, you guys will make some money. No,
don't do it for this fight. Do it for the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl this weekend also.
Let's this weekend,
go.
Baby.
Look, Ben Askren is obviously the underdog, which is crazy. We're talking about a combat sport.
Did you watch the video he put? Okay, now we were talking about Steve A. Smith and his video that was put out.
Yeah,
Ben put out. He's got the picture. He's got the face of Jake Paul on the bag, and he puts out this. And I'm like, I'm 58 years old and I'm faster than you.
Oh my gosh. I love Ben.
Oh, Jesus.
I love Ben Askren.
Scary. I'm telling you, scary. I love the guy too. And my thing is this. As an MMA fighter, he was outstanding. Just outstanding. And especially for a guy that, just stuck to what he did well. And that was the wrestling base that he had. And he would grind you and ground and pound you, and you thought you were getting away from him at times, and he would just ride you, let you up, pick you up, put you down. But I know he's making a ton of money for this, and I understand why he's taking it, and I'd probably take it too, but for that money. But I just look at it, and in a way, he's doing MMA a disservice. He just is. You know, you
I
look
guess
at it and you go,
as a
no.
fighter, though, should you
because
care?
they're using his name, they're using his record, they're using his reputation, all to say that Jake Paul beats this MMA champion to elevate this poodle-haired guy, whatever you want to call him. And it just kind of drives me to distraction.
But if you're Ben Askren, should you care about the MMA sport?
Yes, because it's exactly what. Why are you where you at? Did I say that right?
No.
Why are
you did
you
not.
where you're at?
Yeah, he does.
Yes. Why are you there? You know, you could sit there and say, "Oh, I did it all." No, I was asked a thing. You know, someone said something about someone asked, put something out. Oh, you know, you should be in the UFC Hall of Fame.
No, I talked.
I don't worry about the little things in life. Okay. But then I was asked a question. I haven't answered it. And it's by a guy that I used to run the UFC Hall of Fame. And I was, sitting there and I was talking to my wife about it. And
Miss McCarthy.
I did a lot that people don't know about. I did a lot for the UFC. But I'm going to sit here and just say it straight out. It goes two ways. They did a lot for me. I wouldn't be in the position that I am today without this thing called the UFC. And I recognize that. I'm smart enough to know that. And so I appreciate it. You know, people think that I hate the UFC, which is stupid, but I love the UFC. I will always have a special place in my heart for that organization because that's where I started, and so I owe certain things just like he owes certain things. And in a way, does he owe MMA? Yeah. It's the reason that people, are looking at this fight. It's not because Ben was an Olympic wrestler, which he was a great wrestler in college, NCAA champion multiple times. He was a great wrestler. He would not be getting this match without the MMA. Just the way I see it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to piggyback on what you said about the UFC as well. Like I've said this, I don't know how many times, countless times. I owe a lot of my career, especially the beginning of it, I give credit to Dana White. Like he didn't have to sign me. Joe Silva tried to talk him out of signing me. When I fought in Shogun, he's like, no, not yet. And Dana's like, nah, I'm signing him. And it was like, to me, I've said that like it, but I feel like I have to say thank you. I said thank you because you got my career started and it catapulted me into where I am today. And it just grew from there. I didn't want to miss that opportunity. I've thanked him to his face, and I've said it publicly on the old Sammy and the Punk podcast. I'm saying it now again. I think I've said it before on our show as well. I owe a lot in terms of, I'm thankful and grateful the fact that he took a chance on me and signing me, but the rest of it was up to me.
Absolutely.
And that's really what it comes down to. And
if you didn't win, you wouldn't have been there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't feel that way for Ben Askren though. Ben Askren came up through Bellator under the Bjorn regime. He came up through the one.
I don't think that Ben Askren owes the UFC anything. Ben Askren owes the sport of MMA.
I get that part of it. I don't get that part of it. I don't agree that he owes. I don't agree that he owes the sport anything. I don't know what it is. Just something about Ben. Ben was never treated fairly in the sport. He never got the credit he deserved. The media never treated him. They never really talked positive about him. I don't feel like he owes the sport anything. They never considered him anything. Like he was the Bellator champion forever. They never talked about him in a positive light.
Who didn't? If you want to talk about casual people that only watch the UFC, yeah, they don't know who Ben Askren is.
Well, what I mean by
did you know who Ben Askren was?
Yeah, I did because
did you respect his skills that he had?
Yeah, you can.
Did you respect? Did you respect what he did in Bellator?
Yeah. But does that mean the media did?
I don't give a shit what the media
But
does.
the media is what gets everyone else to respect you as well.
The media follows the money.
I get what you're saying, John. You don't have to yell at me. Okay.
I'm not yelling.
My point is that the media didn't do him any favors. Really what they did was they very, very rarely covered him. And when they did, they didn't talk highly of him.
Even I will agree, even his boss, Bjorn Rebney, wasn't too complimentary.
Of course not. And so my point is that does he owe the sport? I don't think he does. Just my personal opinion. If it was somebody else, I would probably go with you 100%. But I feel like with Ben, he's never got the kudos he deserved, and how damn good he was.
That was because he could not stand up and fight. That's what he wants to do in this fight.
I'm still betting on Ben Askren.
Go back and watch that video again. Come on.
It was great.
Dave, pull up Ben Askren hitting the bag. Show him.
I've seen it. It's got the
you need to watch it again.
And you know what?
It's that bad.
I'm still going to put my $140 on Ben Askren.
You're going to lose $140.
No.
Hold it. What's the odds?
What's the odds? It's plus 140, isn't it?
So all you got to put is 100 down to win 140, Josh.
I know. That's what I just said. I'm going to win my 140. Didn't I say that?
I thought you said you said I'm going to bet 140 to win $100.
No. I'm going to bet $100 to win 140.
And what's the action on Paul?
I think it's minus
190.
190.
Oh,
minus 190.
Easy money. I put $200 down and I get 105 back. I'm a winner.
I'm going with Ben Askren. You know what? You're betraying the sport of MMA
by
not supporting the MMA fighter.
I am so disappointed in that selection. He could have taken. They could have brought in Nate Diaz, even though Dana wouldn't have let Nate fight in it. He would have let Nick fight in it, and that would have been a great thing. And I would have been backing Nick Diaz to knock his poodle haircut wearing ass out. But.
Oh, geez, John, tell me how you really feel. Well, hey, that's our segment.
He looks like a jafoodle.
What is a jafoodle?
A Jake Poodle.
A Jake Poodle. I love it.
It's a jafoodle.
Well, that's our segment of the weighing in on the odds. And you guys can go there. Also, check out the odds also for the Super Bowl. They've got plenty of prop bets on that as well. So it's mybookie.ag or mybookie.com. Use the promo code weighing in. If you bet if you put in an initial deposit of $100, they'll give you another $50, all the way up to $1,000. If you put in $1,000, they'll give you another $500. So 50% of your initial deposit. It's good for the very first time only. Please enjoy. Use the promo code weighing in.
Yes, sir.
What else do we got there, Dave?
That's
we got the fights to talk about this weekend.
Come on, baby. There's a couple of fantastic matchups this weekend.
Yes.
And it's not the main event. Come on. I look at this and although I love Alistair and Volkov is good, how is it that Corey Sandhagen, just look at the rankings. The rankings alone, I think, puts it to where I guess Frankie's not that high in
he's ranked number 4.
Is it okay? So Sandhagen is what?
2.
2?
Yeah.
So 2 and 4, there's no way that Overeem and Volkov are that high.
5 and 6.
See?
Respectively.
Should have been Frankie Edgar and Sandhagen in a 5-round battle and being my main event because I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah, I understand why they did. They're heavyweights.
Yeah.
You know, they're hoping for someone to get knocked out. And if it's going to be someone, it's probably going to be Volkov.
Nope.
You think he's going to beat Overeem?
If it's a stand-up fight anymore, yeah.
Anymore. Okay.
If Overeem allows it to be a stand-up fight, Volkov is tough. If he's smart and takes the fight to the ground, which he does a lot and is in the top position, he will eat Volkov up on the ground.
Did you see there was something they pulled out saying that Overeem has like the best statistics in the UFC for the most accuracy of striking or some shit?
He might.
Significant
in the heavyweights. I don't think in the UFC.
He said UFC history like that.
What?
Yeah,
maybe heavyweights.
I was like, there's just no. Maybe they had to. Sorry, I saw it. I think on the UFC Instagram. It must have. I don't know. Anyways, I was like, what are you talking about?
I would say it's a good matchup between him and Volkov. I have nothing against it.
Yeah.
Overeem fights completely different now than he did in the past. He's a different fighter, and he has to be, and that's absolutely smart on his part. But at 43, is he 43? Maybe 40? Coming up on 44? That's a tough one.
When
he's getting up there.
When Strikeforce brought over all their heavyweights, that was the greatest UFC heavyweights had ever been. And now they're all 50. It's like they're still fighting.
Yeah, they're still fighting.
I'm just like, what the
I can.
The heavyweight division is horrible now. Let's scroll. The only one that I really like watching, honestly, in the heavyweight division, Derek Lewis. I just love Derek Lewis. I love him. I love his personality. I love everything about him, man. He's like a big old teddy bear. Like, it just got he's got dogs. He's got dogs in his hand.
Any guy that takes his britches off in the cage and says my balls was hot, you gotta love him.
Oh, good. What's his name? Rosenstruck and him, have they fought?
Derek and Rosenstruck? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I'm surprised that fight hasn't happened.
It'll be coming.
Yeah, they haven't fought. Derek Lewis. Let's pull up his record here.
There's several guys in the heavyweight. You gotta say when Ngannou fights, you want to see it.
Yeah,
he's exciting. Stipe is just good.
Yep.
That's next. Can fight everywhere. I know. That's a good one. And then the winner, how lucky are they? They get this guy named Johnny Bones Jones.
Oh, man.
Woo.
Yeah. I think that you think Francis beats Stipe this time?
Possibly based upon a couple of things. One thing is
age.
Well, not so much age, but there's some, some as far as, what damage has been done, the knockout against Cormier and things like that. But I really go with where Francis is training and who he's training with, the guys that he has, the coaches that he has, and what he's doing differently now. Because he's got a lot of very good grapplers now with him that are, working with him all the time. And he's getting better and better from what I hear. His wrestling defense is not bad now. Yeah. And so it's going to be a completely different game as far as getting him to the ground than it was, when he was just used to standing there and knocking people out and didn't even think about it really.
Yeah. He's just so so explosive.
He's violent.
Yes.
He's just violent. And if he, guy, we always talk about, hey, anyone can land the perfect shot. He doesn't have to land a perfect shot. He doesn't have to land one that's even that good. He can land a shitty shot and still knock you out.
Yeah.
He's got that kind of power in his hands. And so just one strike can take everything that you've done in that fight. You can win every second of the fight and lose one, and it's over and you're the loser. That's a tough guy to fight.
Yeah, when he almost decapitated Overeem, I thought he killed him.
I thought he broke his neck.
Yeah, the back of his head.
Touched
the back of his head hit the middle of his back. I was like, "What the hell just happened here?" I look at. I always go against Stipe, so I want to go with Stipe this time. I think
you're gonna jinx the hell out.
I'm gonna jinx the hell out of it. I'm gonna go against him again. I think Ngannou's just gotten so much better. I think that he seems like he's gotten a little bit more comfortable, like you said, on the ground. Not that we've seen him on the ground a whole lot, but I think that you can tell he's putting out videos like having fun. I think when fighters are doing that, they're feeling a lot more comfortable in their skin about where they're at in their career. But either way, the Stipe and John Jones fight doesn't interest me for some reason. It doesn't.
But Ngannou
versus John does.
Oh.
And so I'm cheering for Stipe in terms of it would be nice for you to get that win.
Yep.
But then to turn around and probably watch you lose to John Jones. Whereas Ngannou, I feel like that would be there'd be a lot of anticipation and hype coming into that. Not so much with the Stipe and the John Jones.
Well, one of the things when you go and you look at John's career, every time that he fights someone that he doesn't have a height or length advantage over really comparatively like he normally does, tends to have a much harder fight. Well, I can guarantee you he's not going to have a height advantage and the reach advantage. If it's more than 1.5 inches, I'd be surprised. So it's pretty even as far as the physicality, as far as the length and that height, but the strength right now, and a guy that's used to carrying the weight, that's a big difference too. You know, Ngannou he's been that size for a long time. John is getting up there now, and he's going to have to deal with, you know, making that good weight where he's used to carrying it, used to dealing with the size, because he's putting on weight. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if my first fight in the heavyweight division, I'd want it to be Ngannou.
I don't think so, man. It's
think
just like,
so.
But you got to give it to John Jones as far as, you know, just being a smart fighter, knowing how to fight, being adaptable in the cage. He's got all that. He's got all that going for him. You know, he is as fight IQ high as any fighter out there.
All right, let's get into this. I know we don't talk. We've talked about it, and I don't put him there. If he wins this title, I would consider him the GOAT. But the issue is just the steroids, you know, the picograms and the other stuff. But I mean, and I feel like people all deserve a second chance. He hasn't been
But
the
you're
same.
not going to give it to him.
Well, the problem is though, he used up the second and the third already, so we're on the fourth chance now. But it's that. I feel like he is good. I think he's probably the greatest. He's probably
fantastic.
the best. He's probably the best that's ever done it. You know, it's sad that it was ruined with the use of whatever it is, dick pills and everything else that was involved. But look, even with all that stuff, he's in that conversation of him, GSP, and Khabib, and who else would you put there?
Well, I look at it, you know, when you say GOAT, greatest of all time, there's categories for it too. You know, the most dominant fighter I've ever seen is Khabib. He is the most dominant fighter there's ever been in the sport. That's why he's undefeated. Now, John is truly undefeated. You know, I know he's got the loss and all that stuff. Do say whatever they want. He didn't lose to the fighter. He lost to the system. Okay, so you can take a look and say he hasn't truly lost either now. But I can look at his fights, and dominant wise, he's been dominant in a lot of them, but not like Khabib. Khabib is the most dominant fighter I've ever seen. But if I'm going to look and I say, well, now I've got John with all the championship fights that he's had, because he's had a ton, that, you know, that leads towards, hey, you know, that's not easy being the champion and defending that many times. And now if he goes and he does become the heavyweight champion, yeah, he's the greatest fighter of all time. You know, I love GSP and he's unbelievably good, but he does have a couple of losses on his records. Those were righteous losses. You know, he got those back. You know, he beat Matt Hughes twice after losing to him. You know, he beat Matt Serra, you know, in the return match, beat him bad. So he's got those wins back. John Jones doesn't have those.
Yeah.
Khabib doesn't have those. And so it's tough when you're looking at it to say, is the guy that has several losses better than the guy that has 0 losses? Now you can take a look at competition and everything, but again, now you can go back and I look at the end of Khabib's run. He fought the very best there was, but John Jones has fought the very best there was in the light heavyweights, and now moving up into the heavyweights. I don't see things changing much for him as far as his ability to dominate there either.
Yeah, the only reason why if he didn't go up to heavyweight and win the title there, I wouldn't consider him the GOAT. Only based on the fact that I've always looked at 185 and 205. They're not very strong divisions. You have your guys that are good, don't get me wrong, 2 or 3, 4 guys at the top that are good, but they're not stacked. You know, like for Khabib to do what he did, GSP to do what they did, they always had a ton of guys for them to have to get through. There's
no doubt there's more depth at 155
and even at 70
than any weight class. No, 155's got the most. I'm just being straight out. 170 is probably next. 145 is there, but 155 is just a killer division. Has been and will continue to be. There's just a ton of talented people there, and you can go and you can take the guy who's, ranked 10th, and look, he can beat the top guy on a given night. So it's, I agree with you as far as 155 is always, well, I'm not say always, but for the last, let's say 5, maybe 10 years, it's been the weight class that has the most depth and the best overall group of fighters that are just killers compared to any other.
Yeah, I agree. The thing what kind of is tarnishing John a little bit, I mean, outside of all the other outside issues, is that his last 3 fights, he didn't look great. Yeah, he didn't look great. And I think if he comes in and ends up winning the title, I think then that kind of lays claim to what I had talked about before is I feel like maybe it was a motivation thing. I mean, you could say that, but now he's clean and all these other things because of all the stuff from before. But it really just comes down to, I think, look, he's defended the title so many times at 205. He's probably just like, all right, another one of these guys. Now I think there's a bit of motivation. We're going to see the best John Jones at heavyweight. I think he doesn't have to cut weight. He's going to be able to just walk in, probably just the way he normally walks in. Comfortable. And he's going to have I think we're going to see the best John Jones we probably have seen since he first came onto the scene and won the title and just dominated guys. We may see that same guy again. And the other thing as well is that he will be, I don't know if he'll be faster than Ngannou. He won't be as strong. But he will have more. Strong. He'll have more tools, more weapons, things that he will use than Ngannou. He can use his wrestling. He can use his agility and his willingness to go ahead and do things that most people would never do in the heavyweight division. The spinning back elbows, the up kicks, those are all things that not a lot of heavyweights can do, and definitely do it with speed and pace and power the way that he does. So it makes it for a fun fight. Like that's why I was saying the Ngannou fight interests me. The Stipe one does not. And it's just, I think it just, I like both of them. I like both of them. I'm just saying. I like both of them. I'll take either. Yeah. Either of those matchups are great for me. Gotcha. Well, I mean, it kind of like took me a little while to admit. I'm like, yeah, the guy's been good. He is good. But I have those 3 guys in that conversation: GSP, him, and Khabib. I would like, obviously, I think everyone, including obviously myself, would like to have seen Khabib go longer, because there are still guys in that conversation where he never had fought. And that's the one thing I'm like, I would have liked I would like to have seen you fight, what's it called? Charles Oliveira, beat him, fight, maybe even now that Chandler's on the scene, fight Chandler, who else is in that top rankings, Dave, in terms of the 55 pounders? You just want to see him put a stamp on it. Well, he's already beat Dustin. He's already beat Justin. I'd like to see him fight Charles. Beat Connor. He never fought Tony. We've had this conversation about they only booked it 5 times. Yeah, I know. But Charles and then Chandler is 3 and 4. But then he never fought Tony. I don't feel like Tony is going to make another run back to the title. Connor, I think he may clean up his go back to the kickboxing, more of the stand up MMA style of stand up. We'll see. Dos Anjos, he's already beat. Dan Hooker lost to Chandler, so let's not go back that far realistically. Then you have the only one that really would interest me in seeing this type of fight would be Dariush, and you got Islam right there as well. So I could see Islam jumping all the way up after 1 or 2 wins, being right up there with the Chandler and the Charles Oliveira in 4 and 5, somewhere in that conversation. Just an idea. What else? What else you got, Dave?
Well, you guys actually veered away off the actual fight itself, which is
we do that a lot. Jesus. Because we were supposed to be talking about the fight card. So you think that Alistair over him? You think Volkov knocks Alistair out, or you think Alistair? I think Alistair takes him down and destroys him on the ground. That's what I think. Yeah, smart. I think he's gonna fight a smart fight. Corey Sanhagen and Frankie Edgar. Go ahead. Let me hear it. You homer. Go ahead. Frankie Edgar. Oh, sorry, buddy. Frankie Edgar, I think he's gonna out wrestle him. He's gonna get him to the ground. He's gonna set up the strikes, get him to the ground. If he gets him to the ground, Frankie's got a good chance of winning the fight. Yeah. If he does not get him to the ground and he decides to stand with him and not utilize his wrestling, he has to take him down. Corey Sanhagen eats him alive. He has to take him down. Has to. I'm not saying he needs to force it, but he needs to get a takedown. Yeah, he needs to get it. He needs to keep Corey in a position where he's thinking about the takedown.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's gonna be a tough fight though.
it is.
After watching Frankie in his last couple of fights, you can tell he has slowed down a little bit. Not a lot, but he has slowed down. And there's that little hesitation for when he throws. He waits to be hit. He didn't do that before. He threw and continued to throw, and then he got out. That hesitation is called age.
Yep.
I went through that, and that was that end. Those last 4 fights that I had in my career was you start waiting to be hit, and that's all really what it comes down to. So, the fight that I'm kind of interested to see is the Manel Cape. That's Mike Swick's teammate, or he works with Mike Swick out of AKA Thailand.
Yeah.
But then the other guy, I can't say his last name.
Pantoja.
He's good.
Oh, he's very good.
He's so
very
good. But when I saw him fight last, I was like, "Who's this guy?" He doesn't look. And then he started moving around. He started stride. I was like, "Oh shit, you're good. You're good. You're good." This is gonna be a fun fight.
Come on, you take a look at the first 3 fights on the main card.
Yeah.
Look at Diego Ferreira against Beneil Dariush.
Oof.
That's a good fight, dude.
It is.
That's gonna be good. And then the one after that is Cody Stamann against Askar.
Yeah.
Askar, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
That's a good fight. I like Cody Stamann. He's a tough dude, wrestling background. He just brings it, and Askar is a good stand-up fighter, but he can fight on the ground too. So that's a good matchup. And I think that one is it's at featherweight. It might be a bantamweight. I'm not sure, but I think it's at featherweight.
Which one?
The Cody Stamann.
I think he's in the bantamweight rankings.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's at 145. That's what I was told.
Maybe he's going up in weight, huh? If you click on the fight, it'll tell you what weight.
And
UFC says 135.
Say 135?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was strange, but when I was told, I was like, But sometimes guys, take fights.
Oh no, you're right. It's a featherweight bout. Sorry, it's just he's listed at 35, but the bout is listed at featherweight.
Yes. So that'll be interesting.
So look, Diego Ferreira, he doesn't do anything spectacular. He's just good. He's one of those guys that's not flashy. He's good. And so his fight with Dariush is flashy. He's aggressive.
What?
In terms of spinning back elbows, he'll do spinning back fists. He'll do crazy stuff. Like he's just, I guess, okay, look, I shouldn't say he's flashy.
Okay.
I should say that he's so long that things come from weird angles.
Yeah.
It's not like he doesn't have a traditional, he's long and lanky and things come from weird angles. He will throw spinning back fists. He will throw spin. He just does things that are a little awkward and different. I think as a fighter, when I'm watching him fight, I'm like, I wouldn't anticipate someone of his style or his size to fight that way. And he's fun. He's fun to watch fight. So as long as Ferreira just stays tight with his defense, which he does, he's very just kind of stays tucked. He doesn't do anything like super spectacular, but he just finds ways to win. He stays on point with his defense and lands his strikes and puts pressure until you make a mistake. Dariush is big though. He's a big guy. He's big. He's big for the weight, long and lanky and big for the weight.
Well, Beneil he's good everywhere now because it was always he came into MMA with a grappling background, and he was trying to take guys down and submit them all the time. And Rafael Cordeiro has done a great job of bringing his stand-up game to the point where, man, I think his last fight was against Hot Sauce Holtzman.
Yes,
Scotty Holtzman, and man, Scotty Holtzman was on a run. Scotty Holtzman was really fighting well.
Mm-hmm.
And man, he just ate Scotty up. Scotty just was like 2 steps behind in that fight, getting hit with everything. Beneil just looked unbelievably good at that point. And if he fights that way against Ferreira, it's going to be a great fight.
I'm excited for that fight. I'm always excited to see the 55-pounders get after it because we're the best in the biz, baby.
Oh, there you go. Now you're going again. What do you think? What do you think of the matchup with Clay Guida is fighting Michael Johnson on this card?
I think it's a great matchup for Michael Johnson. If he sticks and moves, can never let his feet stay standing right in front of Clay. If he stops for 1 second right in front of Clay, Clay gets the takedown, and Michael's, I don't know if he's gonna be able to get up. Clay's just gonna get busy on the ground and pound, very active, and it's gonna be hard for Michael to get back up. And if he does get back up, Clay's just gonna keep chasing the legs. But can he get there? Can he get to the legs before Michael gets to his chin? Because that's really what it comes down to. Like we saw, Michael, it doesn't matter if he's getting a little bit older and he's fast. He's got a long, stiff jab. Speed. He's got a lot of speed.
He's got good stand-up.
He's got great stand-up, and he puts the combinations together well. He just gotta stay on the game plan. Like he got away from that. Well, who did he fight? He got knocked out with like a minute left. Josh Emmett. He got knocked out with like a minute left in the fight, right? Where Josh Emmett was beating Josh Emmett up. And Josh Emmett threw the overhand right at the a minute left. Was there a minute left? 45 seconds left.
Oh.
He got clipped. Boom, was out cold. And he's had 2 losses since then. He has
I was gonna say he's on a 3-fight
lose streak. Yeah. But I mean, the speed will be a factor, and whether Clay can get to the legs before he gets to his chin.
I think the speed is the biggest factor.
Yeah.
I love Clay. He's almost 40 years. Was 39 now?
Yeah, he is 39.
Yeah. It's tough when you're that grinder, that gritty guy that takes shots to get inside and everything. They add up. He had one of my favorite fights. He fought. I don't know if you remember Tyson Griffin?
Yes.
He and Clay Guida had one of the best fights ever at the very first UFC that was in Ireland. I think it was UFC 72.
Mm-hmm.
What a great fight between those two. There was so much going on in that fight. I love that fight. I used to show it all the time for judging because it's just an awesome fight. It's got stand-up, it's got ground, it's got submission attempts, it's got everything. And it's just now, I don't know. It's getting you saw, I think Bobby Green was Clay's last fight, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And
yep.
Bobby's
and then Jim Miller before that too. Miller before that.
Bobby's fast, but he's not as active with his shots as far as putting volume out like Michael Johnson is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I just don't think it's a good fight in the end for Clay, and I like Clay.
Yeah. The fight that I always think of when I think of Tyson Griffin is I think of Frankie Edgar's first fight in the UFC. That was like, it was like watching 2 ferrets on the ground just get after
Talk about knee bars going freaking backwards.
Yep.
Both of them in that fight.
Yes. Phenomenal fight. But that was when I was funny because I guess today's the anniversary of that fight.
Is it?
Yes. And I told Frank, I said, I said, this was when I realized you were a fucking savage. I was like, you were the kid from the Dirty Jers, man. They call him the Dirty Jersey. But I call him. That was when I became a fan of his. Man, that was the first time I'd ever seen him fight. And then I want to say like a couple months later, he came out and started training at AKA for a while. His next 2 fights, 2 or 3 fights he had from AKA. Phenomenal, man. Phenomenal fighter.
Yep.
Okay. The rest of the card, what do you think? Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, man. One of my favorites, Molly Mccann.
You got Meatball Molly. I saw that.
McCann. Love me some Molly McCann, baby. She's like such a fucking ray of light. Every time I get around her,
she's just a happy person.
So much fun, just happy, just loves what she does. Never a negative energy when you're around her. I've been around her in Ireland a couple times, and she's just absolutely amazing person. So I give her a little toot. Wishing you luck, girl, and hope you're watching the show. What else? Who else on this card?
I don't know.
The card's right though.
I know. Seen if John's memory could pull it all back up.
I can't pull all that stuff in
his database.
Too many. Too many fight cards.
You've got Mike Rodriguez versus Danilo Marquez. You've got Martin Day versus Timur Valev. You've got Devontae Smith versus Justin James. You got Jocelyn Edwards versus Carol Rosa.
Is that Timur Valiev?
Valiev, yeah. Oh, sorry. It looked like 2 L's. My eyesight's fucking horrible. It's so bad. Oh man, I swear, the eyesight's catching up with the CTE.
Martin Day's got his hands full in that one, dude.
Is he good?
Valiev's good. He's tough. That's a tough fight.
And then I mean that's pretty much the whole card right there.
Yeah.
The fight that I'm most looking forward to, obviously, is the Sandhagen and Frankie. Frankie's my boy, man. I just want to see him get a good win. So you guys can also bet on those fights too. Go to mybookie.ag, mybookie.com. Use the promo code weighing in, and they will give you 50% of your first deposit. Hope you guys use that this weekend. If you don't use it for fights, use it for the Super Bowl,
where Tom Brady's gonna beat. Oh, sorry.
No, he's not. He's not.
You Kansas City.
I'm just mad, man. Our Fisher, our right tackle, he tore his Achilles last game, and he's out now for the game. That he's Pro Bowler. Oh, that's horrible. That's a tough hit on us. Shit. And we know what sucks, right? Is that we were already ahead. There was only like 3 or 4 minutes left. He didn't even need to be in the game. Damn it. Damn it.
They don't pull linemen out of games, dude.
They're so valuable. Yep. Why? But look, I think we just got to beat Tom, man. That's all we got to do. We got to just beat Tom. Our defense just needs to get 1 or 2 stops, and we'll outscore him. That's all we got. We score like crazy anytime we want. We're animals. Let's go, Chiefs. Chiefs, baby. Chiefs. Shut up. You watch pro wrestling, Dave. Shut up. I don't even want to hear you talk. We're talking about sports, like real men's sports, not pro wrestling, not fake shit. Jeez, this guy. Okay, so look, there was one last thing I want to talk about. You guys, hit the little bell on the right corner. I believe it's the right corner. It's like it sets for the notification, lets you know when all the our new stuff drops. Dave doing the release of new videos too, and all the little short clips that we're doing as well. Also, hit the thumbs up. That shares our videos to everyone else. So you guys don't always have to see, like Dave likes to say, you don't have to see Ariel Helwani and DC in your selective category. You see our videos. All the ones that we've already done are the ones that are coming up, and that shares our videos to other people as well. So let's try and get, what do we want? How many likes do we want?
We want
to get at least 5,000 to 10,000.
Yeah, we want 5,000 minimum on.
Yeah. Can we get us to 5,000, guys? Come on. This was a pretty good show considering, that, we talked a lot about Stephen A today.
Pretty good.
I mean, we are the best MMA podcast.
This was phenomenal. Come on. This is like, think of, go ahead. I'm sorry. Stephen A gave us some good stuff today. I'm glad. Stephen A, say something. Come on. Give us the retraction so we can talk and criticize you for that too. I absolutely love it. I love it. This is so much fun, John. We're nerds. This is what I like about this. We're nerds. We're not as bad as Dave. Dave's a real nerd, like in real life, but we're like nerds to the sport, and I love this. I'm just going from now on. I talk about Stephen A. It's DPU, baby. DPU.
It's almost like it's becoming a trend now. Like this time every year, right? Like last year was when you were on Joe Rogan at this time, and you talk about Stephen A. this time. So it's becoming a trend. Wow. It's becoming a trend.
Maybe it's
like the yearly thing.
Maybe it's like right around the time his contract comes up, and he wants to say something really outlandish to get him paid a little bit more, since that's what these companies are doing these days. Hey, there was one more thing we were going to talk about. Someone at Kenny Florian came out and said that Khabib was in the works, or they were talking about GSP and Khabib in the works. And then Ali said, this is absolutely true. And then seconds later, deleted it. And then seconds later, fake news. I want everyone to understand. Yes, of course, they are trying to get it to work out. Always. That's not anything new. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just simply saying I don't think it's going to happen. I think that GSP has realized that he's 40 years old. He's living a good life. He's just doing, he's still training all the time. I saw him running in the fucking snow yesterday.
There's nothing to win.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I don't think it proves anything either. You're fighting a guy who's in his prime, literally at the top of his weight class. And you are 40 years old, and you are not at the top of your weight.
And you haven't fought since 2017.
Jeez, man. Yeah, I don't think that's a good fight. I think it's a.
And if it does happen, John, just come out of retirement and then fudge it and make it a no contest to screw over all the fans.
Yeah. That'd be great. Great.
That's bad.
All right, guys. We already said hit the thumbs up. Go to prowrestlingtees.com/WayneIn and use the promo code POT.
Oh, it's a new promo code.
It's a new promo code.
Do you want to know what the promo code is right now?
No, we don't want to know it. We just want to lie.
You should tell our fans and our subscribers what the promo code is.
The new promo code for February is plethora. And if you don't know
Shut
how to spell it, it's right down in the description.
Why would you do that?
Because that's a famous word.
It's a phenomenal. Okay, do you even know where that comes from?
That was the dumbest name ever.
How?
People can't spell that.
It's right there underneath. It's right underneath the video in the comment.
That is a Bruce Beck call, man. Bruce Beck was the guy from, I want to say UFC 4, I believe. 4 on until Mike Goldberg took over at UFC Japan. So he didn't have a long run, but he always used a plethora of punches. A plethora of.
Wow.
So he loved the word plethora. So that's where it comes from.
Interesting.
It's a good word.
Bruce
It
Beck.
just means many.
And there are a plethora of t-shirts, Josh.
There is.
There's a plethora of t-shirts.
So
you to choose from.
The name, the word plethora is in the description. So if you guys don't know how to spell it, so like me, I would have to look down there and then put it in the promo code box.
That's why
PLETHORA, plethora.
There you go.
That was wrong, by the way.
Was it wrong?
And there's an app now. You can just download the app, copy and paste the word, get your t-shirt, boom, Bob's your uncle.
Boom, boom, Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle.
We got to make that one now. Yeah. What else, John? What else do we have? We did the segment today of weighing on the odds.
Your CT is so bad.
My
right
CT
now.
is really bad. It's kicked up today.
You literally done the outro and you're like, what else?
Yeah, what else?
What else? Hey.
I don't want to leave yet. That's why. I think this is one thing I want to talk about real quick. You guys. I yawn a lot because sometimes we film really late and sometimes we film really early. Tonight is not late, but I also am a very early riser. I'm always up really early. I'm usually up and out of my house by like 5 a.m., 4:35 a.m. Like whether coming to the gym, we're doing a remodel at the gym too. Because I have a ton of people going, man, Josh, stop yawning. And I'm like, sorry guys, man. I haven't had my coffee tonight.
Wow, there's a lot of excuses.
There is. But I want to let people. This is my way of talking to the comment section, saying, hey, I read your guys' comments. I appreciate you guys. Be positive in the comments. I see some of you guys being mean.
They are now starting to affect my sensitivity. My sensitive side is being touched.
We have fun with it in the comments section. Just be positive.
Josh, how many comments is that?
How many? I don't know.
How many comments is that right there? See that?
914.
All right. How many views is that?
I can't read that far.
105,000.
I know.
So this is stop getting wrapped up in it.
I love it.
Oh, nice. You know what, Dave? That was nice. I like the way you set him up. That? Yeah, nice job. That was beautifully done.
Here's the thing is I go to the comments because there are a lot of people that say very positive things about our show. And I love to hit the like button there.
He's such a little I
love it.
He's like, oh, he's seen some
I want the people, not me, about the show.
Okay.
I don't like the people. I actually do like their comments when they say something nice.
I was gonna say you lied, some bitch.
Because out of 914, there's like 7.
Maybe 12. Maybe 12. But I do go through there. I like all of the comments when they say something positive about our show. I love it.
So if you didn't get enough out of an hour and 45-minute show, just take it into the comments and Josh will give you another 2 hours.
I want to let you guys all know also, you guys have been using the word first. When you guys are the first to write a comment, you guys have now lost that privilege because Dave will now be putting in first into the comment section because he's posted it.
FYI, that wasn't me.
Well, it was me.
Yeah,
I put first. So what I want you guys to remember is you guys will have to put second now.
Josh, do you recall when we first started this?
Yeah.
It was, you said, we're just going to do like 15 minutes.
Yes.
15 minutes, 20 minutes max.
Yeah. And then I realized
everything's short.
I realized how long-winded you were.
Thank you very much. I took up those 15 to 20 minutes. Boom.
Yes.
how times have changed.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Now I think our podcast is averaging like 2 hours. It's ridiculous. All right, guys. Well, hey, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. And John, what else?
Just
do you have
for
to say?
everyone out there, first off, I want to say thank you for listening in. All the new subscribers, we appreciate you coming on. All the old ones, we still love you. And the last thing I have to say is, see ya.